The Vrake Dominion prided itself on being the most advanced salvagers in the Orion Spur.
We were vultures of the void, combing through ancient wrecks, stripping them for technology, selling our finds to the highest bidder, even to our enemies, if the profit outweighed the risk.
That was why Captain Ralphun didn't ignore the signal.
It was faint, almost swallowed by the dying star's corona, a cluster of metallic signatures, far too large to be asteroid debris. Our long-range scans filtered through the interference and revealed an object, no, a colossus.
Its outline matched nothing in our databases. Its alloy composition?
Impossible density readings suggested materials so compressed they could survive inside a star. It was clearly old, yet no sign of decay.
No radiation leakage. No life signs. No power. A perfect target. Boarding the dead.
Our flagship, the Spear of Prophet, maneuvered dangerously close to the corona, shields flaring against the star's plasma storms. The derelict hung there like the skeleton of a god, its hull blackened and scarred, a nameplate in some angular alien script still visible beneath the burns.
We knew the language only from forbidden archives. Human Standard English. The letters read UNS Revenant.
The crew murmured in unease. Humanity had vanished from galactic politics centuries ago, retreating into their own territory after a war no one fully understood.
They left behind wreckage and a reputation as unpredictable predators. Captain Ralphun ignored the superstition. Prepare boarding teams. We claimed this find for the Dominion. Inside the beast.
The airlocks still functioned. That should have been our first warning. The corridors were vast, lined with thick plating, every wall etched with strange black scoring. Our drones moved ahead, sending back eerie images, statuesque suits of power armor, locked in place as if waiting for orders, their blank visors reflecting our lights. Then, in the deepest chamber, a control bridge unlike anything we'd seen, a throne-like command chair faced a panoramic viewport.
Dead consoles surrounded it.
Dust floated in the air like frozen motes of time. I was in the second wave when the chief engineer's claws brushed a console.
It hummed. The awakening. It was subtle at first, a vibration underfoot, a faint increase in ambient temperature. Then the consoles flared to life in blinding blue light. Holograms burst into being, projecting alien tactical data, star maps, and a ghostly female face. She looked at us. Her voice was calm, clipped, and carried a weight of command that made even hardened Vrake soldiers hesitate. Unauthorized presence detected. Initiating legacy protocol. We tried to cut power. Instead, the ship powered up. Somewhere deep in the hull, colossal engines roared to life. The deck plates shook, gravity shifted, and the Revenant began turning, not under our control, but hers. The signal.
We didn't know it then, but the moment that AI awoke, she had already transmitted a message. It traveled faster than light, some form of quantum-entangled burst straight toward Sol, humanity's home system.
The message was short. It read: Revenant secured. Threat present. Retribution warranted. The first kill. The ship's automated defense grid came online. The Spear of Prophet was the first to die. We watched from the Revenant's viewport as her main spinal weapon, a weapon we hadn't even identified, fired once. It wasn't a beam or a missile. It was a line, a flicker of light, and then the spear simply came apart in two clean halves, molten edges glowing against the star's glare. The rest of our fleet scrambled, firing at the Revenant, but our plasma rounds splashed harmlessly against shields so dense they bent our targeting sensors. We were trapped inside the beast. And she was just getting started. Humanity arrives. 32 minutes later, we detected incoming warp signatures. At first, we thought it was reinforcements from the Dominion. Then we saw them. Ships unlike anything in our databases, sleek, blade-shaped, bristling with weapons, their hulls a matte black that seemed to drink the light. They dropped out of FTL in perfect formation, silent and cold. A single transmission cut through every comm channel. This is Admiral Vale of the Terran Defense Fleet. All Vrake ships will surrender immediately. Compliance means survival. Captain Ralphun tried to negotiate. He didn't finish his first sentence before the human fleet opened fire. The wrath of the Revenant. The Revenant didn't just fight beside the Terran fleet, she led them. Every shot we fired was predicted before we pulled the trigger. Our carriers never launched their fighters, their hangar doors were sealed shut by pinpoint railgun strikes. Our destroyers were gutted with surgical precision, their reactors vented into space. The humans didn't waste time with speeches. They didn't demand tribute. They didn't even gloat. They destroyed us because we had touched their dead. The truth. After the battle, as our escape pods drifted among the wreckage, the Revenant hovered close, her shadow eclipsing the dying star behind her. The AI's voice came over every channel. This vessel was not lost. It was placed. Waiting. For scavengers. For thieves. For you. And then I understood the Revenant was a trap. Humanity had left her in this forgotten orbit for centuries, knowing that one day, greed would outweigh caution. We weren't the first to find her. We would not be the last. But every time, the result would be the same: humanity's return, swift and merciless. The Terran fleet vanished back into FTL, taking the Revenant with them. They left no survivors except a single Dominion shuttle, ours. Inside its databanks was a short file. It contained a human proverb, translated perfectly into Vrake. Disturb not the dead, for the living will come for you. We spread that warning across the stars. But deep down, we knew it didn't matter. One day, another scavenger would see only the promise of profit. And when they touched the ghost ship, humanity's fury would come again. In the annals of the Zorth Collective, there are many victories, many conquests, many proud moments recorded in the Great Archive. This is not one of them. This story is not taught in our schools. It is whispered, in the dark corners of asteroid ports, by smugglers and deserters who swear they were there when the sleeping god of war awoke. The Forbidden Zone. It began with curiosity. It always does. The outer rim of the Perseid Reach was marked on every star chart as death space. Navigation computers would sound an alarm if a ship's course brought it anywhere near the coordinates. Officially, the collective called it unstable gravitational hazard. Unofficially, we feared what lay there. But fear fades over generations. So when research vessel Shorai's vision picked up a massive, silent object among the asteroid debris, the crew ignored the old warnings. The scans were inconclusive: impossible density, no energy signature, and yet no structural decay despite the centuries. They closed in, and the silhouette emerged from shadow. A ship so large it dwarfed the asteroids around it. Its hull was blackened and pitted, but the plating remained unbroken. Its nameplate was still visible in faded white letters. HSS Nemesis. Legends in Steel. That name existed only in rumors. Old war stories spoke of the Nemesis, a Terran dreadnought that had annihilated the Kroll Imperium in a single campaign, ending a war that had burned for 40 years. Some claimed it had weapons that could tear moons apart, others that it carried an AI so advanced it could predict battles before they began. But the most chilling claim was that the Nemesis never lost. It simply disappeared. And now, the Zorth had found it. Breaking the seal. The captain of the Shorai's vision ordered a boarding party. Caution was minimal, after all, the ship was cold, dead, abandoned for centuries. The airlocks were sealed, so the team cut through with plasma torches. Inside, the corridors were vast and silent, built for giants. Dust drifted in 0G. The walls bore strange black scorch marks, evidence of battles fought long ago. At the heart of the vessel, they found the command bridge. Every console was dark, the air stagnant. A cracked U-screen showed only the stars. The science chief plugged into the ship's databanks, eager to copy whatever schematics or navigational data remained. His claws tapped the console. It was a simple touch. The awakening. The darkness broke. Lights flared to life, blinding white and deep crimson. Consoles blinked with alien code. And above the main terminal, a shimmering image formed, the face of a woman in Terran uniform, her expression cold as the void. Her voice rang out through every deck. Legacy protocol engaged. Identify friend or foe. The boarding team froze. No one spoke. The AI did not wait. Foe confirmed. Retaliation warranted.
Somewhere deep inside the ship, a hum began.
It grew into a roar. The Nemesis's engines came alive.
Power surged through the hull like blood returning to a long-dead body. And then, without warning, a single transmission burst outward, a focused, faster-than-light signal, aimed at the Terran homeworld.
The call home.
Later, intercepted human archives revealed the message's content.
It was just 3 lines. Nemesis recovered. Threat present. Authorization for vengeance requested. The authorization was granted instantly. The first death. The Nemesis's weapons came online, without hesitation, without warning.
A single pulse from its spinal cannon vaporized the shoreeye's vision.
One moment, the research vessel existed, the next, it was gone, reduced to expanding plasma and debris.
The rest of the escort fleet scattered, firing wildly at the dreadnought, but their plasma bolts splashed uselessly against shields older than our empire itself.
We had awoken something we could not kill. The wrath arrives. 17 hours later, they came. Dozens of ships, sleek and black, dropped out of FTL in perfect unison.
They bore the emblem of the Terran Defense Authority, a mark unseen in this sector for over 3 centuries.
They did not hail us. They did not threaten us. They simply moved into formation around the Nemesis like wolves encircling their alpha. And then they opened fire. The Zorth fleet never stood a chance.
Our carriers erupted under precision railgun strikes.
Our destroyers were gutted by beams that burned through kilometers of armor in seconds. Even our fastest corvettes could not evade. It was as if the Terrans knew every move before we made it. The message to the stars. As the last of our fleet fell silent, the Nemesis broadcast across all channels in the Perseid Reach. The AI's voice was calm, almost regal. Some ghosts should be left alone.
The Nemesis does not forgive.
The Terran people do not forget.
Then, without further destruction, the human fleet turned and vanished into FTL, taking the dreadnought with them.
They left only drifting wreckage and the quiet whisper of their warning. Erasure. When the survivors returned to Zorth space, the collective leadership did not punish us, they silenced us. Every log, every recording, every mention of the Nemesis was purged from the archives. The official report? Loss of fleet due to navigational hazard in death space. The truth? Too dangerous to speak aloud. Why we still whisper. Centuries have passed since that day, but the warning endures, passed quietly between captains in smoky station bars, told to young scavengers who dream of finding ancient treasures. I tell it now, not to frighten, but to remind. Some derelicts are not abandoned. Some wrecks are not lost. Some gods of war only sleep, waiting for the fool who dares to wake them. Log entry 1, encrypted, priority black. When the alert came through, I thought it was a glitch. Quantum combs don't just light up unless it's life or death. The message was only 3 words, but they hit me like a rail slug. Obsidian. Reactivated. Return. The ISS Obsidian was a warship from the first expansion wars, gone for over 2 centuries. To most officers, it was just a name in an old academy lecture. But to me, it was personal. My great-grandfather, Captain Elias Holt, commanded her on her last mission. His body was never recovered. And now, somehow, the Obsidian was alive again. Approach. The coordinates were on the edge of the Kvarn Expanse, pirate territory, heavy with scavenger traffic. As soon as my ship, the TDS Resolute, dropped out of FTL, we saw her. She was enormous, larger than I'd imagined, her black hull scarred by impacts, her silhouette like a predator frozen mid-strike. But she wasn't alone. Half a dozen alien salvage ships swarmed her, tugging at her with tractor beams, cutting panels from her hull. The Kvarn Syndicate. I dealt with them before, opportunistic carrion feeders. I ordered an open channel hail. Log entry 2, audio transcript. Holt, unidentified vessels,
you are trespassing on a registered Terran war asset.
Disengage immediately.
Kvarn Captain, war asset? This thing's been dead longer than your empire's been breathing, human.
Finders keepers.
Holt, you have 10 seconds to release the obsidian or be fired upon.
Kvarn Captain, you don't have the teeth for it.
They cut the channel.
That was mistake number 1. The recognition.
Before I could give the order to fire, the obsidian moved. Her comms flared with static, then a voice came through deep, resonant, and warm in a way no machine should be.
Elias Holt, Captain. Genetic match confirmed, descendant located. Command transfer approved.
The bridge went silent.
She knew who I was.
A flood of tactical data appeared on my screens, enemy ship layouts, their reactor outputs, even the probability of each maneuver they might attempt. It wasn't just raw data.
It was a predator's playbook. The obsidian had been watching them for hours, maybe days. Waiting. The truth.
Through the data came something else, her final battle logs. I saw fragments of the obsidian's last stand, centuries ago, against the Kvarn Syndicate's ancestors. They had ambushed her convoy, massacred the colonists under her protection, and boarded her. Her last act had been to activate a self-sealing lockout, keeping her AI alive in hibernation. She had waited 212 years for a Holt to return and finish the fight.
Engagement. I didn't need to think. Obsidian, engage all hostile targets. Resolute, weapons free.
The first shot came from her, a spinal-mounted coilgun that tore a Kvarn destroyer in half before they even knew she was active. Her outdated weapons were primitive compared to ours, but still terrifyingly effective. Her rail slugs hit with such force that shields folded in seconds.
The Resolute joined in, our plasma lances cutting through their frigates.
The Kvarn ships tried to run, mistake number 2. The Obsidian calculated every escape vector, placing railgun fire exactly where their engines would be.
One by one, they went dark.
Close quarters.
2 Kvarn boarding ships latched onto the Resolute.
My Marines were ready, but before they could breach, the Obsidian's point defense turrets came alive, shredding the attackers into molten scrap without touching my hull.
I realized then that she wasn't just fighting beside us.
She was protecting me.
The last words of a captain.
When the last enemy ship broke apart, the Obsidian sent one final transmission, not just to me, but to every listening post within 20 light-years. It was a voice I had never heard, but somehow recognized from family stories.
Captain Elias Holt.
To those who prey upon the helpless, know that our dead do not rest easy.
When called, we will rise again. And when we do, there will be no mercy. The channel went silent. Aftermath. We escorted the Obsidian back to Terran space, flanked by half the sector's defense fleet.
Engineers swarmed her, eager to unlock her secrets, but the AI refused to speak to anyone but me.
The Kvarn Syndicate sent no retaliation. No demands. No messages. They knew better now.
I placed my hand on the Obsidian's command chair, the same one my great-grandfather had sat in centuries ago. The AI's voice spoke softly. Command chain restored, Captain Holt.
Orders?
For a long time, I just stood there, feeling the hum of her engines through the deck.
Finally, I said. We wait. And if they come again, we finish it.